If you've ever wondered what it's like to rebuild your life in a quiet, beautiful corner of Europe as an expat African woman, this one's for you. Hi, I'm Sonia Dee, and just over a year ago, I decided to move my entire life to the Czech Republic in my late 30s. And in this video, I wanted to share the things I have genuinely grown to love about this country. So, first things first, why did I move here? If you haven't watched that video already, I decided to move here. It was a decision that was about 2 years in the making, or a year in the making rather, about 2 years ago, because I realized that I had been living my life according to other people's terms, and I had allowed that, and I needed to take ownership of my own story and rebuild my life in a way that I desired and that I deserved. So one of those ways was to make a shift to a new place, a new country, continent, and to begin to build a life that felt really beautiful and wholesome to me. So that's the reason. And so I have been in Prague, living in Prague for the last year and maybe 3 or 4 months. And I would say I feel quite settled now. It took a hot minute, but I do feel a bit more grounded and settled in this place at this point. And guys, before we continue, sometimes, I love to sip on something, and I want to invite you, before you continue this video, get you something to sip on. I'm having Birao. That's a very popular non-alcoholic beverage here in Czech Republic. One of my favorites. I love it, and this is a flavor I love. So get yourself one. I'll wait. Okay, let's get going. So, number 1 on my list, I have 8 things I'm going to share with you that I love about this country. Number 1 is the clean and aesthetic vibes of the Czech Republic. So, Czech Republic and Prague in particular, they have managed to maintain cleanliness in the streets, when you're in the malls, apartment buildings, things like that. I mean, obviously there's natural wear and tear, but even then they do their best to preserve their buildings, constantly doing work on buildings and roads, streets, things like that. So I love it. I really just enjoy the fact that they take great care of their infrastructure. It gives me a sense of peace, a sense of order, especially as I'm rebuilding my life, as I'm making this big transition and making sense of where I'm going, who I'm becoming. It just helps me feel more grounded, seeing this beauty, seeing this cleanliness and order around me. Something that we may not always get in Africa, and I feel that that has its own benefits too, please don't get me wrong. But here they take extra care. So that's something I've really grown to appreciate. Okay, the second thing I've really grown to love about this country is the fairytale feels that it gives. So what do I mean? Whenever someone asks me what I like about Czech Republic or what I like about Prague in particular, I always, my one go-to response is, every time I step out, it feels like I've walked into a fairy tale story. It feels like I've opened a fairy tale book. And, this is especially true when you walk through the old town, when you visit the castles. There's just something truly magical. I remember one of my first times going to the castle. I could not believe it. Literally, if you enjoy watching period pieces like Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, or any of these like King Lear, whatever, all these movies that we get, It's like being taken from your home and planted into that movie set. Because I thought, okay, they just build these movie sets. But no. These are actual buildings, and they preserve them, like I said, they preserve them so well. And, this magical monument is just towering over you, holding years, centuries of history. You can't help but feel like you're part of something bigger. So that's what I really love. After a hard day at work or over the weekend, I feel like going to do something different. I can just walk to the old town. I can go to the castle or any of these other spaces, and I feel like I've treated myself. I walked into a beautiful, beautiful story, and especially as I start over, it reminds me that I'm rewriting my own story, and it can be beautiful, it can be magical because of what I see around me. So definitely something I must say I love about Czech Republic. Okay, number 3. I love the landscape. My God. I've had the privilege, I've honestly been so privileged to travel around Europe since I've gotten here. I'm really grateful for that, mainly thanks to my sister and her husband and also some friends. And, driving through, because you can drive between the different countries. Every time when we're coming back into the Czech Republic, I know, because you see the landscape shift. The landscape in Czech Republic is so lush, it's so green and refreshing, honestly. And I never see them, but they always cut their grass. You never see them. Even the way they stack their hay bales, I think that's what you call them, is really beautiful. Again, it feels like some storybook. They take such great pride in how they keep their landscape, how they maintain their landscape, and it affects my mental wellness in such a beautiful way. It gives me a sense of being grounded and feeling safe. And again, I've had some really tough moments on this journey starting over, and this is something I want to share more of as we go. And being able to take in that beauty, being able to be reminded of how things come together and how you can take care of your space the way they do their landscape along with their buildings, again, just gives me that sense of being grounded and like life is working out for my good in the end. So I love it. I really appreciate it. Number 4 is easy access to nature. So it's really easy to walk to what they call here forests, and really they are forests. Some are bigger than others, or parks. It's really easy to access. You just step outside your apartment or whatever building you're in, and you can just take a walk to a forest, to a park, to a trail for hiking. Those are a bit further, or lakes. It's easily accessible to pretty much anybody. And like I mentioned, nature, I love nature. Like, nature really helps me feel grounded, and it's supported me on my journey of transition. And back home, that's one thing I really, really appreciated about being at home. Being in my parents' backyard, for example, beautiful garden, lush and green. It really helped me mentally. So having that access here is also amazing, especially in the months of summer, spring, and autumn. Winter's a bit tough, but yeah, it's so soothing. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to access nature from pretty much anywhere. Living in the city the way I do in Prague, it's just amazing to me that I have instant access to nature as well. So that's something I really love about this country. They value well-being, and you see it in what they put emphasis on. And nature and access to nature is something that they definitely emphasize. So I love that. It's something that's been very supportive on my journey as I transition. And it also, reminds me of home, just in a bit of a different way, because the nature here is a bit different. But it reminds me that no matter where you really travel in life, you can still access nature. and the natural way of being. So yeah, listen, if you're finding value in this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and just share this with anyone that you feel it may be useful for them. All right, number 5 is the rich history and castles that are on display throughout the country, like I sort of mentioned already. I like the fact that the country, Czech Republic, they honor their history in such a beautiful way. And I do feel, unfortunately, as Africans, that's something that was stolen from us. But you know what? It's not an excuse. I feel like being around all this preserved history, it's encouraging me and making me feel like it's important for us as Africans to also do the same for ourselves. It's, you know, there's no more excuses. We can do it now going forward. But yeah, I love the access to the history, the way that they give the general public access to castles, like the Prague Castle that I mentioned. Another favorite site of mine is Czech Krumlov. Oh my God. Words cannot even describe what it feels like to walk there, around there, to see the nature there. I'll try to share some pics for you to see from one of our visits, but absolutely adore Czech Krumlov, and I love how accessible and well preserved these sites are and this history is. Yeah, and again, I'm constantly reminded of the fact that we all are coming from somewhere, and myself included. Obviously, my history is very different to the people here, but nonetheless, being able to see these things constantly reminds me that, Sonia, as you make this transition, just remember where you've come from, what you can take with you, what's helpful, what no longer serves you, what you can leave behind as you continue to make this transition. So yeah, really, really grateful for that. Number 6 is Czech food. While in my previous video, I did mention that I do struggle with the lack of greens in their diet, I do love svíčková. That's like a staple dish here. And the meal basically is made up of dumplings with a thick and rich gravy from meat that has been stewed over a long period of time. So it's quite tender. And it's topped off with, I think it's like a blueberry sauce and cream. Absolutely divine. You cannot tell me otherwise. That's something I love about this place. I never get tired of that dish. And I'm hoping one day I'll be able to learn how to prepare it. I've heard even Czechs are a bit hesitant, some of them, to make it. It can feel quite daunting, but I have a colleague who tells me that it's actually not that bad. It's not that difficult. So yeah, I really, really love that dish. It's so warm and comforting. It's a very hearty food, and I love hearty dishes. So yeah, that's definitely something I've really enjoyed about being here. All right, obviously living in a place and having moved here, I understood that I would be living amongst a different people. You know, where I came from, there were a certain group of people that I'd gotten accustomed to. As an African, I was very comfortable. I was in my comfort zone. I was amongst my people. I understood certain nuances, like certain unspoken things, actions, words. And so coming here, what was really challenging was learning a new group of people, especially a group of people that's quite different to the ones that I'm accustomed to or from where I come from. And I mean, the Czech people were no different. Something I do appreciate about them is that they are quite warm and loyal, and I'll get to when that happens because it's not off the bat. When you initially encounter a Czech person or some Czech people, let me not generalize, they can come across as a bit aloof and distant. And I'm sure there's reasons behind that. That's a video for another day. But what I do appreciate is once they get to know you and once you also get to know them, they're very, very warm, very kind, polite, helpful, and quite loyal. They take you in as if you're one of their own. And I've made a couple of really great friends here who are Czech, and I appreciate them immensely. They've helped me with navigating the space and understanding the culture and the norms here, just in general, as a woman who looks different. And also they've helped me accept and embrace myself even more, because they're very interested in me. They're interested in my story, where I'm coming from, what I value, what my life experiences have been, you know. So having moved to a space where I look so different, it's really, really been helpful to have people from here who have shown great acceptance of that and great warmth around it. So yeah, I'm really grateful for having come across people like that here. And I think it's just a testament to the fact that wherever you go, because I mean, I've had some also not great experiences here with people, but I think it's just testament to the fact that wherever you go, you will encounter different types of people, and that's just life. But hopefully you can move forward and open yourself up to other people who are more warm, more kind, more accepting, hopefully as you are. So yeah, being really, really grateful for that. All right, last but certainly not least is public transport in the Czech Republic, and Prague in particular, because that's where I've lived. Getting around is truly a breeze in Czech Republic. It's super affordable. Like when I traveled to other parts of Europe, like when I went to visit my friend in Portugal, Irene, in Lisbon, they operate on the euro. It's pretty pricey, like a two-way trip or one-way trip, I can't remember, is usually like €3.50 or thereabouts. Here I buy a month's pass for 550 Czech crowns. I'll do a conversion and I'll tell you how much that is in euros, but it's super affordable, and it's even cheaper when you buy it for the year upfront. I think it's almost half the monthly price when you convert it. So I really love that. That's something about the Czech people. They take care of their own people. They take care of you. If you are living in the society, they will make sure that life is accessible, it's affordable for most of the people there. So transport being one of those things. So yeah, it's also really reliable. There's schedules online, there's schedules at the bus stops. When there's delays, you get updates immediately, and generally, you know, it's on time, so you have to plan your schedule accordingly and make sure that you get to where you need to get onto the transport in time. And that's something I had to adjust to as an African, because not only is it on time, but there's dedicated bus stops, obviously. Whereas in, you know, like when I lived in Johannesburg or in Harare, you can ask the driver to stop it after the robot or whatever, right? Along the way, you can make a request for them to stop. Not here, not on your life. If it ain't the bus stop, if it ain't the tram stop, if it ain't the metro stop, ain't no way you're getting off. So you better plan your life accordingly. So yeah, that's been interesting. And it's a very simple system to understand, I would say. You know, having also traveled in other parts of Europe, like recently we were in Berlin. And even though here it's a different language, I don't know how they do it, but they systemize it so well. You know what they're talking about. You know, they give you an outline of the stations as you go along. They make it very clear which station or tram stop you're at, things like that. Whereas in other cities, I found that it's not as clear. It's not as simple. It takes a bit of time to navigate, and even then sometimes you don't even get a full understanding of how to use this transport system, and sometimes it's not that affordable. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that, because it's also allowed me to explore the city, explore the country, have some really great times here. as I settle in, as I transition. And it makes me feel safer. You know, I can travel at night. I don't feel so scared. I don't feel so in danger. So that's also something I really appreciate about the transport system here, and transitioning at this stage in my life. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching up till this point. I appreciate having you here. Yeah, would you ever consider moving abroad, especially later on in life? And if you have moved abroad, or if you have made a big transition in your life, what was the reason? How's that going? Yeah, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know about life in the Czech Republic that I didn't share here. Drop it in the comments. And if you live here, if you are Czech, let me know what you love about your country or about Prague as a city. And yeah, let's chop it up. Other than that, I'm Sonia Dee. I'm really excited for something I'm going to bringing to this channel going forward. Keep your eyes peeled here. Thank you for being here as always. And remember, life is beautiful and you have time. Until next time.